With night one of WrestleMania 40 in the books, let's take a look at the matches that took place in today's Wrestling Ramble. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. What a night of WrestleMania that has been had for night one of WrestleMania 40 or WrestleMania XL. A lot of great matches, incredible moments, and there is a lot to get into, so let's get into the first match of the night. We had Becky Lynch challenging Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title. This was a great way to start off the night. You knew this match was going to be incredible. Rhea Ripley has been on an awesome reign so far, has looked dominant. Looks like a star that is still in the making, to be fair. She is already a star, of course, but she could be even bigger. She could be in the mainstream. She could be in movies. Ripley Lynch was incredible from bell to bell. Although it did feel like there were points in the match where there was kind of a lull, slowed down maybe when it should not have. One point in particular that was great was when Lynch took it to the outside for a second, hit her Bexploder against the barricade, and then went right back to the inside, went back to work. I like that we didn't stay on the outside too long, kept it between the ropes for the most part, and really showed what these two ladies can do. Becky's selling was awesome. She showed great heart in this, and of course, Rhea Ripley all around is such an incredible competitor between the ropes. She gets this to an awesome degree, especially for her age, and was in there in the ring with a veteran in Becky Lynch. Overall, I thought this made Lynch look great. I thought Ripley looked dominant as she should. Lynch still had a great outing, showing that she still has it, can go at a high level, be in the world title scene, but there's no reason to have Lynch upset Ripley at this point. It doesn't do much for Lynch, and it really takes away from Ripley if you are to have Becky defeat Rhea at this stage. There is so much more building to do, and if you're going to have Ripley drop the title, have her drop it to another up-and-coming star that you were looking to build, and where it's not going to take as much shine or momentum off of Ripley. So they made the right call, having Ripley win this bout, and had an incredible showing for both women, made them both look like stars. Awesome way to open up WrestleMania 40. We move on to match number 2, the 6-team ladder match, 12 people in total, a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. It was A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, The Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth, The Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Now, there had been hints of this heading into the event, and I wasn't sure how it was going to play out or how they would do it. Maybe they would just do one Raw tag belt, one SmackDown tag belt, hanging together to be retrieved as one, and the winner would be the Undisputed Tag Champs. But lo and behold, we get a shot of the ring before anyone comes out, and we see both sets of titles, Raw and SmackDown, on different ends of the ring, close to the ropes, hoisted above, and the stipulation essentially in the match, if you pull down one, you win those championships. And as we were getting into this, I thought, well, does the team that wins the Raw or SmackDown belts, wins one set of tag belts, do they just go home early? Do they beat the traffic? What do they do? Can they keep going? And one concern I had with this match, was it going to be overbooked? Were they going to do a lot of stuff with multiple people in the ring, outside the ring, and look a bit ridiculous, potentially look fake? But they did a great job. Everything, for the most part, looked legitimate. It was a decent ladder match. It actually exceeded my expectations, which granted were fairly low or non-existent for this match, but they did great work. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, of course, were able to get the SmackDown tag belts. They stayed in the match. Theory immediately went for the Raw tag belts, which answered my previous question of what does one team do if they win one set. And then we get to later on in the bout where Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth got the Raw tag belts. Out of all the teams, I think they picked two of the best options here. R-Truth was the most over person in the match, especially when he did that tag team spot and did John Cena's moves. He was insanely over with the crowd, got a huge reaction, great response. Miz is kind of riding his coattails, but good for him. They get the one set of tag belts. And then A-Town Down Under, Theory and Waller have a decent bit of momentum. I know Waller is really kind of the rising star of that team, which is unfortunate for Theory, but they got the other set of belts. They're a decent heel team. Overall, good match, solid match, and I think the right teams got the belts separate. And then we had the tag team match of the night, Rey Mysterio and Andrade. They took on Santos Escobar and Dominik Mysterio. This was insane to look at, just given all the people at ringside. Of course, Mysterio and Andrade had the LWO. They had Carlito, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Zelina Vega. And then Escobar and Mysterio, Dominik Mysterio, had Angel, Berto, and Elektra Lopez at ringside for their team. And this was a solid match as well. Dominik's got great heat. Santos just looks incredible in the ring. Andrade's always been solid in the ring, but he's not getting that great of a reaction, and that really showed in this match. Rey is still a Hall of Famer and a legend, and the fans still love and respect him. That's never going to stop, I don't think. But Dominik's got great heat and continues to have that. Santos looks like a star. And overall, a solid match, not a whole lot to write home about. Everyone was involved to some degree. And that one spot with Joaquin Wilde where they elevated him from the middle rope to go land on the outside, that was a great match. He got insane elevation there. Overall, Mysterio and Andrade were able to get the win and give the crowd a little feel-good moment for that. Then we get to brother versus brother. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso in singles competition. Let's be upfront about this. Maybe others feel differently. I thought of all the matches on this card, this one was the least interesting. Not going into it, but throughout it and witnessing it from bell to bell, it was not enjoyable. It was not pleasant. I nearly failed to stay awake. This was NyQuil the match. This was a tough one. Not a whole lot going on. It was a ton of super kicks, like 15 or 20. I didn't count, but that might have been the only way to stay awake. Either that or I might have gone to sleep quicker. You know, they say count sheep. I could have counted super kicks and maybe gone to bed. Nonetheless, there were some decent spots in it. I thought the raw emotion between Jey and Jimmy, and Jey looking at him, the facials he had were great. Jimmy, of course, goading him into standing up and shaking his hand and seeming like they might get back together. That was a decent moment, but highly predictable. The one thing that wasn't predictable going into this match, which made it a bit more interesting along with the feud they had, was who do you pick to win? I think a lot of people would go with Jey, but I don't think he would lose anything if he were to come up short against Jimmy, whereas Jimmy, I feel, has gotten the short end of the stick. He's, of course, still affiliated with the Bloodline, but by himself, Jimmy would be less over than Jey if they weren't having any affiliations with the Bloodline. I think Jey has lost steam since separating from Roman and the crew, but Jey was, of course, able to get the win after getting his momentum back in the match. 1, 2, 3, 11 minutes. It felt like every second of 11 minutes. It was a long match. It made me very sleepy. Let's move on. And then we had the 6-woman tag team match. Bianca Belair, Jade, Cargill, and Naomi taking on Damage Control's Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. This match did not go on too long, thankfully. They kept it fairly short and simple. It was somewhat of a headache, seeing as though a lot of tag team rules just are not followed these days, but that's something I've grown a decent bit accustomed to, the backslap tags. Tag multiple people in back to back, but they set it up as you would expect them to. Jade Cargill is the big star here. She is the new face in WWE. They're getting her going, trying to build momentum for her, and she was the one to get the hot tag. Going back to tag team rules, she was standing on the bottom rope, both feet leaning over, far away from the rope, and had no hand on the rope. There was even a point prior to that where she got a tag, I believe from Bianca. They connected hands. I heard the clap, but the ref said something. It wasn't a tag, and then we go back to it, and she finally gets the tag. Took a little bit away from the hot tag. Nonetheless, Jade went in there, got to get her moves in and show what she can do. She looks like a star. Bianca, of course, looked good too. Naomi looked good. Everybody in this match looked decent, did what they were supposed to, but Jade came out looking like the star, and hopefully they can continue to build her. Bianca, Jade, and Naomi got the win over Damage Control. Then we move on. Sami Zayn took on Intercontinental Champion Gunther in a singles match. Wow. Oh my goodness. Talk about great pacing. If you want to know what great pacing in a pro wrestling match looks like, watch this one. Zayn and Gunther is the epitome of that. My eyes were glued to the screen. I did not look away. I never was zoned out, never thought about anything else, didn't think about what I need to get for groceries or think about even going to the restroom. Not once. This match had me enthralled from beginning to end. I was so invested in this one. Sami can sell his freaking butt off. His spaghetti legs are otherworldly. It's so awesome to see. And Gunther, he's called the ring general for a reason. He can do it all. His moveset's incredible. He can do anything in there. He's got a great presence. He's hard hitting. Sami was hitting some hard chops on him too. This was a great show of hard hitting offense that Gunther is known for. Sami did great work selling and making you believe he was so close to death, and by the end of it, he was lying in the middle of the ring. The commentators are begging for it to be called off, and Gunther's finally just continuing to hit him and hit him and hit him with move after move, and starts looking at his wife at ringside, and then by the end of it, gets a little cocky, takes a little too long. Sami meets him at the turnbuckle, hits him with a kick, does a brain buster on the other side to the turnbuckle, and then boom, haluva kick, 1, 2, 3. Big upset. Gunther's legendary run as Intercontinental Champion is over, and Sami Zayn is the new title holder. What a moment to try to send the fans home happy with this one. Of course, we had one more match, and then we had the main event. Cody Rhodes and World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins took on The Rock and the Undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns in a tag team bout. This match was great. It got a little hectic at first with Seth Rollins starting out with Roman Reigns. It made sense. It felt like they were going to focus more on Rollins and Roman and then Cody and Rock, which would leave, of course, Cody and Roman for night 2, kind of save it for later. But Cody was brought in fairly early, and I thought that was odd. Are we not going to do traditional tag team match? Are we not going to get the hot tag? We would get to that later, but we did a little bit of splitting up and going outside the ring between Rollins and Rock and Cody and Roman. They both went their separate ways, showed them both on the screen at the same time, beating each other up. Great little affair. Not too bad for being outside the ring. They got back in the ring, though, started having a tag team match and working on the leg of Seth Rollins, working on the back of Rollins as well, and really playing into the fact that he's had injuries, which does not bode well for him tomorrow, it would seem. Cody Rhodes would get a hot tag to some degree, but it was pretty cooled down by the time he got it. The crowd just was not into this. I think they were just a little dead come the main event, which is understandable. It's a little cold outside. The event's been going on for 3 hours. Granted, that's like an episode of Monday Night Raw, but you got to think with how big the stadium is, people probably got there an hour or two, or maybe even earlier than that. And then the entrances were long as heck, and this match went on for, I believe, 45 minutes. And that's not even including the 5, 6, 7 minute video package, the near 20 minutes of entrances, or however long that took, the introductions there. This went on for a while, but it was something you could stay invested into. There were a lot of great moments here, and no one looked bad. You played into Rollins' injury, which was nice. You don't see that a whole lot with heels working on individual body parts. Only people at a high level that understand in-ring psychology and understand how to do this still do it. There's a lot of people that don't, which is unfortunate, but this match had that. Cody Rhodes had moments, and when we got towards the end, the last 10-minute, 15-minute stretch, I was at that point where I don't know if the Bloodline's going to win. I thought originally they would, but then I started not changing my bet, but I thought there might be a chance here that Rollins and Rhodes get it done. In the end, Roman and Rock came out on top. Rock was able to get the pinfall over Cody, maybe set something up with him. Roman did accidentally hit Rock with a spear, maybe tease some dissension there. You didn't really see it too much in the match, of course. Nonetheless, Rock and Roman came out on top of Rhodes and Rollins. Rhodes ate the pin that he got from The Rock, and Rollins took a ton of damage to his back and knee, could barely stand at the end of it, so we'll see what happens for night 2. And this was a review for night 1 of WrestleMania 40. What did you think of the event? Be sure to let me know in the comments. That's all I've got. I'll see y'all later.